Welcome. Thank you for joining me. This is Laurie of Laurie's Heirloom Sewing, and I've got the pattern basically cut out. I've cut out two, in fact, of View E on the McCall's Fashion Accessories 2947, and View E is this one right here. I hope that's showing up. I'm trying not to get too much in the way. And I think my lighting needs to be fixed. Hang on just a second. Let me try something. Is that helping somewhat? Kinda a little bit. Let's move it out. Okay, so there it is. View E is this guy right here. And we are going to be putting heart appliques onto the pockets. So let me get everything set up. I do have some things to basically let you know. One is I'm not going to add the back skirt to this pattern, and the reason I chose not to do that is because I'm using a flannel. Flannel is a heavier fabric, as most people are aware, and for that reason it will be a little bit more difficult to, I'm moving you, sorry, to gather up the fabric. So rather than have just this bulky waist, I decided, like most aprons, basically they just cover from one side of your hip area across the front to the other side of your hip area. And that is what the skirt front on this pattern is designed to do. So for that reason, I'm only going to be using that piece. I am not going to cut out the piece number 5, which is the skirt back for this pattern and should be used with views A, B, C, D, E alone. But I can modify, and that's actually one of my favorite things to do. Anybody who knows me knows I will modify a pattern almost every single time. Okay, so this is the pocket, and I have had to cut four of these. The pattern says to cut 2, but I'm making 2 separate aprons. Therefore, I would need 2 pockets for each. So I also had to cut out 4 of the heart appliques, among other things. So what we're supposed to do, according to our instructions, is locate the center of this, locate the center of this, and then basically apply the heart to the pocket in the center. Now, quite frankly, you could, if you wanted to, you could have your heart off to the side. You could have your heart, I wouldn't put it all the way up at the top because you will have to make a hem across the top. But, I mean, you could have it off center, you could have it kilter, you know, you could do however you want to. But the pattern is very specific in the instructions and says to locate the center of this piece. And the way you do that, I'm going to see if that's actually showing up. Yeah, okay. The way you do that is you're just going to kind of finger press by folding it in half one way, and then finger press by folding it in half the other way. I might not have pressed it hard enough going back. Let's see. Yeah, and you can actually see the little crosshairs there in the center. And then we do the exact same thing with our heart applique. And we need to be careful because this one is the way it's cut, even though it was cut on grain, this right here and this right here are going to be a bias on the grain, and you don't want to stretch it out of shape. Now, in order to find the center, this bottom point of the heart does not go to the center point of the heart. That would be down here. So what you need to do is find where that the top of the heart is, and then just sort of bring this to that area. So you're matching the bottom of the heart with the top two edges of the heart. And if you find it easier to just fold it in half and then kind of do it like that, you'll be able to locate what the center is by doing that. Okay, and then you're just going to take this mark and you're going to match it up. If you fold it back, you'll be able to figure out where that is, and that should be the center. So, however, that is locating the center. You also need to apply some fusible interfacing to your applique. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a little bit of this puffy Pellon fusible. It's a bit fluffy. And the reason I'm doing that is I like the idea of this being slightly puffy on the pocket. I think that would be kind of cute. So what I'm going to do is spray my applique with my my fusible spray. And I'm going to have to move you because it's all the way over here. This is 505 Spray and Fix temporary temporary hold. I think I ordered this on Amazon like 2 years ago. I use it, but I don't use it all the time. Okay, and then I'm going to take the lid to my current projects box. My lavender is everywhere. I made little lavender sachets and I've just managed to get that everywhere. Now you want to spray this on the side of the fabric that will be applied to the other side of the fabric. So I don't really have to worry about right side, wrong side. This is just some cardinal red or apple red Kona cotton, and it doesn't really have a side, but if you had a right side and a wrong side, you would want to spray your temporary adhesive spray on the wrong side of the fabric. I want to use quite a bit because I want it to really adhere to the non-fusible side of the fusible batting. And thankfully you can, the way to do this really is to start down on the bottom edge and then just kind of push it like this gently. You don't want to stretch it. Okay, so the non-fusible side of the fuzzy Pellon is what I applied my heart to, and then I can, once I get this cut out, I can press this to my pocket. So, push that down, and I'm going to use scissors that I don't typically cut fabric with. I don't want to dull them. These are just some really inexpensive Fiskars that I used back when I had my daycare, which would have been, I don't even want to say how many years ago that was. They may not cut. Well, they're kind of cutting. So we're just going to kind of trim around. Oh, the front part of these scissors is sharper than the back part. Okay. And I will be doing this, of course, to all of the heart appliques, but I wanted to show you this one as well as the applique that will be going on the bib. I did kind of a reverse applique. Surprise, surprise. For that. So as I'm trimming this out, all right, so there's that. And then for the bib, we would be basically doing the exact same thing, but we're only going to locate the center on half of the bib. So the bib is self-lined. This is basically what it would look like here. So this is the front and this would be the lining, and then the heart applique, which I did out of our candy fabric, will go center, for me anyway, center on the bib. That's going to require a few more steps. So until I'm ready for that, I'm just going to keep these two pieces together. It's actually 4 pieces. Okay. So basically at this point, as you can see, I'm going to need to do 3 more of the pocket hearts. And that's where we are today. So I'm going to finish those up, but I wanted to talk about a couple of other things. So what I ended up doing is the pockets and the front skirt are the same fabric. This is the waistband, and I basically just used the measurements of the waistband piece that came with the pattern and my ruler and my rotary cutter and cut the 2 waistbands, 1 for each. And then I have the shoulder straps. The piece requires 4. So you're going to cut 4 per each apron. So of course that meant that I needed to cut 8. So I have 8 of those for 2 aprons. And then the tie that ties the apron together in the back. Each of the aprons has 2, so I needed to cut 4. And I basically just did a rough cut. I was kind of in a hurry and I didn't want to cut it too small. So I will need to trim these. As you can see, the pattern piece is slightly inside the fabric. So I'll go back and I'll trim those up nice and neat. And then, oh yeah, we already talked about the bib. So we're going to kind of have a skirt out of the candy fabric, pockets out of the candy fabric, and then a waistband out of the candy fabric. The ties will be out of the red Kona, the bib will be out of the red Kona, and the shoulder straps will be out of the red Kona. And then we're going to have opposing heart applique. So red heart applique on pockets, candy heart applique on the bib. So that's where we are, and I won't go any farther than getting all of the hearts attached and trimmed, and then tomorrow when I come back we are going to go ahead and do the applique. Now if you want to purchase, or if you already have some lace trim, you could trim the edge of your heart with some little lace. I might have some that I could do. I feel like that would be just a little bit too much. So I may not, but then again, you know, it's an apron that you're only going to wear during the holidays. Maybe it needs to be a little bit over the top, and if I decide after pinning lace on and see what I think, then we'll do it that way. Otherwise, I'm just going to do a satin stitch using my sewing machine to stitch these heart appliques to the pockets and the bib. So you could also use some corded piping if you wanted to. I think at the new year, starting in January of 2020, I'm going to try to remember. I want to show the way that I do corded piping and the way that I do corded pin tucks. So we're going to get into that when the first of the year hits. I'm just going to kind of try to finish up some of these projects as this year comes to a close. But if there are some tips and tricks, or dandelions as I call them, that you in particular want to learn how to do or need for a project, or you've not done because it just looks a little bit too complicated, just drop me a message, leave me a comment, and we'll try to address those concerns. There are so many fun things that you can do once you learn just a couple of dandelions that your sewing will take on a whole new level, and that's what I'm hoping for. But before I go, I wanted to show, I'm so excited. I found a really cool, fun deal just for me on Amazon yesterday, and it arrived last night. Now, I am not making this up. It arrived last night. I ordered it yesterday morning, and the whole kit and caboodle is here as of last night. I found 6 Marte canvas panels, 11 by 14, which I prefer. I don't mind doing a quick little painting on a smaller canvas, but this is just too small to encompass all that I wanted to say on this little itty bitty, looks like maybe an 8 by 10. What is this? Yeah, 8 by 10. It's just too small. This tree is way too big. So I'm going to transfer this painting to this size canvas. I also found this. So all of this came all in one big box. So the canvases came, these paints arrived. I've got them upside down. This right here is the reason that I purchased this particular selection of paint. A lot of these colors, you know, you can make, but I find it a little bit more difficult to get these true brown base paints. So I was really happy to see that in a collection that was amazingly affordable. And with this in the same package together, you know, combined together in one lump, was this set of paintbrushes. I'm so happy because I lost my Filbert paintbrush. I love that when you crack them and they come to life. I lost my Filbert, and look at this giant angle crack. I'll do it on film or whatever. But these are Visuart. You know, if you use them 6 months, they've paid for themselves. Okay, so here I'll show you what I've been doing off camera. So this is the big size 15, and they're very stiff when you get them. You know, you can see them well, there, I cracked it. For me, that is like the best thing ever. Now I need to separate the bristles. I don't know how you guys do it if you paint. I'm probably not doing it correctly. You're probably supposed to just put them in water, but this for me is a guilty pleasure. I just love, it's like a flower petal opening, and then there you have a paintbrush. But included with this is a sponge. I usually use a sea sponge when I'm painting, but maybe this is for something else. Or I suppose you could use it. And a metal palette knife, which I've heard is all I've ever had are plastic. So I'm real excited to use this number 3 metal palette knife. It also has a script liner to number 1. I don't know if you can see. There's that. And the fan brush, of course, which I also lost. And when I say lost, I mean it was destroyed. Yeah, absolutely destroyed. I can't get this one out. There we go. And it's so soft and really full. It has a lot of bristles in it. So I think as far as fan brushes go, it will be perfect for the way I paint anyway. And then there's a selection of round, a couple of brights. I'm not real sure. You know, for me, this is a short bright right here. It might not be a bright. It might just be a square. I don't know. But I call it a short bright. But anyway, so I'm really, really, really excited and happy about the selection. And what I'll do, because I don't know, I mean, this literally was ordered yesterday, Monday. I don't even know what today is. Yesterday was the 25th of November, 2019. And I ordered it in the morning, and I got all of this last night. So I will try to link it below if you're interested, if you have any interest at all in painting. It might be something that you are interested in. I know I was excited and happy, and then ta-da, there it is. So I will be painting at some point, but I really want to finish the aprons. Please like and subscribe if you like this content. If you have any questions, leave me a comment. You can find me at Laurie's Heirloom Sewing on Facebook, and I look forward to seeing you tomorrow.